And we are back. I should have a cover over my screen. I shouldn't be allowed to talk, but I'm going to carry on, Bish, because I think I've lost all sensibility with my bets at the moment. Any confidence from the fans? They're all on you, Bish. Another 2 out of 3 week. How you doing? And well done on last week's bets.
Cheers. Yeah, it was a good week of games, and so close. But yet so far we just got let down for the full house on the Deontay Johnson receiving yards. We got the Steelers win, but not quite the yards. So the other two, Raiders game tick and Cowboys over 27 points. Well, that was very comfortable. So 2 out of 3. Another unit called back, so we're at -4 now. So we're slowly turning it around. That full house and we're back above water. So hopefully it comes this week.
I've stopped. I've not tracked my bets recently, Bish. So I don't know if I'm up or down. I know which one I definitely am, but I'm going to pretend like it's up for debate because I've not kept it. Because it's been a tough year for me, Bish. But I think there's been a load of talking points in the last week, really, Bish. My one I thought I'm going to chuck at you is Bill Belichick, supposedly the future LA Chargers coach for next year. They're saying it's already done. What's your thoughts? And is it is there any truth in this rumor?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I think there's definitely change coming in for the Chargers. You know, we've spoke about Brandon Staley before, and on paper it's a great team. Belichick, that's an interesting one, just given obviously the age of Belichick. It's obviously not a project Chargers. You know, they've got players there ready to go, hit the ground running now. So I don't know. It's maybe the people have put 2 and 2 together and come up with 5 maybe, but again, the Patriots, something's going to happen there. You know, he benched Mac Jones with 2 minutes to go, needing a touchdown, which I thought not really Belichick-esque, if I'm honest. It seemed a bit more of a statement of putting everything on Mac Jones. Interesting times ahead. I think a big one for me is Deshaun Watson, obviously, is out for the season now. It's been reported that he had a broken bone in his shoulder and played on in that Ravens game with that, and also a high ankle sprain as well. So, he's out for the season when they were looking good. And then I believe just before we come on air, there's Ryan Tannehill is asked to be released. So that's another interesting one. Where will he end up? You know, a lot of people again are saying the Browns. Some are saying the Giants. I can't see the Giants. I think they'll be happy tanking, to be honest. But I'm going to throw a sneaky one in there. I'm going to say the Jets, because I do not believe Aaron Rodgers is back this year, as I said earlier on the injury report on the fantasy show. So that could be an interesting one. What do you think, Joe?
Like you said, I think I like the Jets shout. It completely depends on if you believe Aaron Rodgers is coming back or not. If he's not, probably makes sense. And Ryan Tannehill's not going to do anything amazing, but he's quite a safe QB. He's been there, done that for a couple of years. He obviously did it he broke in after taking over Mariota at the Titans anyway. So he's been there, gone into a new system. I think he could do it again. They've got the team, haven't they? The Jets. They only need that. They've been reportedly looking for a QB to maybe fill in, so that makes sense. But it's tough, isn't it, basically at the moment, because it's the big choice on quarterback. It's just such a tough position because there's a lot of teams that started this year having these, what I quote unquote, having a filling quarterback, where they're not going to be the quarterback over the next 5 or 6 years. They're filling because they've got an okay squad, and they're thinking, well, we'll save salary cap and we'll chuck in a quarterback just in that. Obviously, Atlanta strike me for that. There's been quite a few. Tennessee even going with Tannehill another year older. I think there's examples all around the league, and I don't think there's any other than. There's not one quarterback really on the top of my head, Bish, other than if you count Josh Dobbs. That's really been these filling ones that have gone and exploded. Obviously, Josh Dobbs is only a game into his Minnesota career. He did all right, but Atlanta had no expectations. They only won one game anyway. He looked good. But Yeah, I'm unsure this year, Bish. There's so much. I think it's going to be a crazy off season. That's all I do know. I think there will be a lot of happenings and a lot of going ons because just so many teams need quarterbacks, need certain things being filled. There's not many megastar teams anymore. There's no other than the Chiefs, but they've not been as good. Sorry, I'm ranting on now, but it's a really confusing year for me, Bishop. Obviously, it reflects by the fact I've not got many rights and my the way on our fantasy show. So I don't know. Just help me out a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, it is a bit of a minefield at the minute. One I'm looking at, and I don't know if I've spoke to you about it before, but I think Justin Fields. I don't think he's going to be in Chicago next year.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have the Panthers pick, which at the minute is number one, with the Panthers only winning one game, and I can see. I'd really like to see Justin Fields or a quarterback of that mold in the Atlanta side. You know, if you put a running quarterback who he has got an arm, you know, it's obviously not the best, but he's got some weapons around him. It's a team that's built to run the ball with Bijan Robinson. You've got your Kyle Pitts. It might take a coaching change to get that offense going and get those weapons used, but I just think that would be a really deadly combination. So. Yeah, but other than that, it's like you said, it is a bit hit and miss. There's a few good spoke about rookies in the draft. So, and of course, it's the most important position on the field in terms of putting bums on seats and winning games. So, I'm sure there'll be some blockbuster action in the off season.
Yeah, basically, but let's get into it. I'm sure that I'm excited. We'll have to do loads of shows in the off season because I think there'll be news things every week. So we'll get a few on. We'll wait for the announcements and we'll get on it and we'll get the shows rocking even in pre-season next year. Now we've got everything going. We're going to take over the podcast game one season at a time, Bish. One season at a time. But yeah, let's dive into it, Bish. Take us through your first bet.
Bet one, it's the Dallas Cowboys over 27 team points, and those from week 10. This is not a repeat. This is the same bet as last week. If it's not broke, don't fix it. You know, that's what the saying goes, and that's where I'm at. You know, the Cowboys, they're the perfect team. You know, the bully the bad teams. You know, and they're racking up points at the minute. Hot offense. Last week against the Giants, they put up 49 points. You know, Dak is playing very well. 4 touchdowns last week. CeeDee Lamb is having a great year. 151 yards and a touchdown last week. And probably the biggest one for me is we saw maybe a breakout game for Brandon Cooks there, 173 yards and a touchdown. So the offense is purring. And as I said, apart from the one slip up at Arizona earlier on in the year, they've put 49 and 40 points on the Giants, 43 on the Rams, 38 on the Pats, and 30 on the Jets. So, you know, they're scoring a lot of points. And just looking at the Panthers, well, we've just spoke about them there. The 1-8. They traded away their number one wide receiver in DJ Moore to secure Bryce Young as the quarterback, the rookie quarterback. And there's not much else going on that offense. You know, Adam Thielen's filling in, but you know, he's the only sort of, I'd say, bright thing on that offense. And, you know, they're conceding 26.9 points per game. And 4 out of the 8 teams have hit over this line, hit over 2017 points, with the Lions and the Dolphins hitting 42. So, you know, I can only see, as I said last week, this going one way at the minute. The Cowboys are red hot. You know, the Panthers, I think they'll put up a bit more of a fight than the Giants did last week, but you know, I can only see a similar game script, and this one could be over by half time. This bet, which would be nice.
Yeah, it would be, but like I said, I'm not putting it past the Cowboys. Is this one that you want to go on, or is this in a line, or is it one that you have to search and?
No, this is just the Bet365 team points. So yeah, 27 is their team points. The odds are slightly better than last week, which would suggest they're thinking the Panthers are better than the Giants. But it's at evens. I think it's a great price and a great bet.
That is, Bish. I know in the past you've sometimes gone in and made a bet builder out of this, but if that's the team line, that's incredibly low, isn't it, against the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young's been given a hard time. I was actually going to bring up Bryce and see what you think, but as you said, when your best weapons are 33, 34-year-old, I think now maybe wide receiver who last year looked like you were ready to pass on the hat as such. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't see them. The defense, I know I've got them in fantasy, are unbelievable. They completely stop any other 99% of teams other than the Eagles. I think it's they stop. So yeah, I think that's a brilliant bet, Bish, and at evens. Go get yourself double the money.
Hopefully, yeah, good start.
Yeah. I'll take you through mine, Bish. I'm going simple this week. All mine are fairly simple. I'm going the LA Chargers. The line is currently -3, and this is against the Green Bay Packers. I think, to be honest, I think the Chargers are, again, what can you make of them? Another team up and down. Obviously, we've spoke about them. Might be getting a new head coach this year, so I thought, let's get them in the first bet. As you said, though, the stars all over the field on the defense and the offense. They've not quite got it going this year. I think Eckler's going to have a massive game. Packers can't defend the run. The past 5 years can't defend the run. Nothing's changed. They've obviously got some good cornerbacks to the Packers, but I think the Chargers overall will overcome that. Keenan Allen's an amazing wide receiver. Justin Herbert, amazing quarterback. So I think Eckler's going to have a huge game, and then the wide receivers will just keep them that defense honest enough to open it all up. And the Packers again, very young, very very young offense. I can't see them scoring many points against this seasoned Chargers defense. They've obviously got Khalil Mack. They've got Joey Bosa. They've got some brilliant edge rushers. I think it's going to be a long day for Jordan Love today on Sunday. And I think it's, I think the Chargers are going to do this one comfortably, may I say, Bishop. I've said that a few times this year.
Yeah, I was looking actually for an Eckler rushing prop line, but they're not quite out yet. So yeah, I think, he could have a big day on the ground, as you said. The Steelers put up 200 yards on the ground against them last week, so that could get ugly. And with the Chargers, I think I backed them earlier on in the season and they let me down, so I'm staying away. But in this one, I think you got to lean them. Yeah, no matter how good they are, how good we say they are, they always seem to keep games close. But I think they should have enough against this Packers team to come away with a victory. And as we said there's a lot on the line. The AFC West teams are picking up wins now, so they're going to have to win themselves to keep in that playoff hunt. So yeah, I like that one. Yeah.
Now, just one little fact I forgot to mention: out of the games they've had this year, the games they do lose throughout the season are teams, to be fair, that are contending teams. The AFC is absolutely stacked. Their own divisions are absolutely stacked. Each game's a tough one. They do lose to the good teams. They keep them close. But I think the only team they've lost that are quote probably on the bottom half of all the ladders is the Titans, and they lost that in week 2. The Titans were still gunning for it in week 2. They had health. They were still. I think they still thought they could make the playoffs by then, and they were going for it a bit more than probably where the players' minds are at now. So I can't see anything but a Chargers win here, Bish.
Yeah, week 2, that's the one that let me down. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I think you're good for that one. Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant, thank you. But yeah, second bet, Bish. Let's go.
My second one, and this is the big one, it's the Lions to win and Jahmyr Gibbs over 21.5 receiving yards. Again, this is a similar one that I've had before against the Bears. I'll take you back to week 9 where the Saints won and Kamara hit this line, and just on the Lions to start with, the 7-2, just one game back from the Eagles. They're flying this year. Was one loss in the last 7, which was against the Ravens, but they're an absolutely high-powered offense. Goff is slinging it out there. Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator, has got them doing some really good stuff with the ball. The second in yards, 417 a game, and the top six in scoring. They average just under 27 points a game. So, as I said, they're absolutely flying. And the Bears, on the flip side, it's been a tough year for them. 3-7. Justin Fields has been out since week 6 with a dislocated thumb. I believe he's back this week. So that will give them a lift. But will it be enough? I'm not too sure. He's been out for a long time. He started the season, only 1 touchdown in the first 3 games, and then he sort of erupted a little bit in the next 2, throwing 4 touchdowns. But I expect him to be a bit rusty. Is he 100%? I'm not too sure. We'll find out. But I just think the Lions have way too much for him at the minute with the way they're playing. And then just onto the Gibbs line, a bit repeating myself, but the Bears are actually very good against the run. They're ranked second in the league, but what they do is they sell out for the run, and then they go man on man in terms of defending receivers, and that just leaves the running back a load of space. Linebackers got to pick up the running back. It's a bit of a mismatch, and they're actually worst against the receiving yards per game against running backs. So up until week 9, they were giving up 62 yards a game. In that week 9, Kamara had 44 yards, and then last week against the Panthers, they both combined for 31 yards. So, it's that line has been hit. It's been hit often. Gibbs is sort of he's getting more involved now. He's the last 3 weeks. Well, Montgomery was out for the last 2 or 3 weeks, but Gibbs since then, last week when they were both playing, he had 58% snap share, so he's sort of edging into sort of that lead back now, and he's definitely the pass catching back. David Montgomery is not there to catch passes; he's there he's running one way, and that's north south, straight through the middle. So Gibbs last week, he had 5 targets, and Monty had 0. So. I think this is the big one for me. If I can nail this one, this is worth a couple of units. So yeah, it's the Lions to win and Jahmyr Gibbs over 21.5 receiving yards.
I like it, Bish. What can I say? I think the Lions win. The fact you've not gone with the handicap probably gives that extra bit of security. I think the Lions should beat the Bears. The Lions' defense are good against the run as well. It's what they're better at. That's what the Bears do. That's what the Bears do, and then it opens up maybe a DJ Moore, a couple of receptions or a DJ Moore touchdown. But their bread and butter is the run. The Lions have been brilliant at defending the run this year. Obviously, compared to last year where they had some struggles, they've really put emphasis on the defensive side of the ball, and I think they may not shut down the Chicago offense, but they'll certainly. I think they'll certainly come away with the win and carry on their role. And like you said, Gibbs, I've got him in one of my fantasy leagues. Bish, if he don't hit that receiving mark, I'll eat my hat, as the famous politician once said. I think, Gibbs is awesome. They've been playing him more and more, as you said. You covered it all. Let's get on it, Bish. 2.35 units. Let's get it. I like that. So brilliant.
Yeah, nice. And Gibbs is actually in his last 3. His minimum receiving yards has been 35. So, it's hopefully it's a good omen.
I think so, yeah. I will take you through my second bet. Again, another fairly safe one in my opinion, but it might contradict one I've just seen that yours coming up. Ooh. Not too much though. I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers +1 and over 33 points in the game. This is versus the Cleveland Browns. Pittsburgh plus obviously Cleveland. I'll just cover why. It's probably an anti-Cleveland sentiment. They've got DFJ, the new quarterback, coming in. Looked very good in pre-season by all respects, but got in front of actually Josh Dobbs. Speaking of the QB, got in front of Josh Dobbs. They released Josh Dobbs, and they went on to do what he did. But yeah, I just can't see Cleveland carrying this on now, Bish. I think eventually, unless they trade for Tannehill and that the vibe goes that they're getting a QB and that they think they can go with it, whether they've got an amazing QB, I think we saw it we saw it with Denver Broncos last year, how they had such a good defense, but once they knew it were over, it's hard to stay that top end motivate. It's hard to fight for every single play, every single moment when you know the looks against you, your QB's not playing for the rest of the year, and you see your season hopes of maybe making the Super Bowl or going far in the playoffs. It'd be tough to not say they're over. And that's why I think this is more of a this is more of an anti-unlucky Cleveland Browns comment more than it is probably pro Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers have actually have had more yards against them than more yards made, but they're 6-3 on the season. Makes sense of that. I can't. But yeah, I think they've got a basis of an okay team. Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett's very safe. Too safe, but that's what you want. He's obviously doing enough to scrape out these wins with a good defense and a very good rushing game, apparently, that as we saw last week against Green Bay. That game better with the addition of Jaylen Warren, who's been flying. Obviously, you've got Najee Harris, who's the slowest running back starting running back in the sport, but the toughest, and got moves, and still a very good running back, very good pedigree. And I think the Steelers take this game +1.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's been an interesting week. We know Watson won't play, and that line has come down from, I think it was -4. The Browns, obviously now it's -1, and these two teams met earlier on, and it was 26-22 to the Steelers. Again, they managed to win that one, and like you said, they're beat on yards every week, and somehow managed to get the victory. They just, I don't know, they grind it out. And this one is, for me, is going to be 33 points. That is a very low line, isn't it? So I
had to go.
It's a crazy low line. It's one that I think needs to be taken on. So yeah, I think I can understand that one. No Watson, but they've still got weapons. Both teams have got weapons. You've talked about the running game for the Steelers. There's Deontay Johnson as well. Obviously, You've still got Amari Cooper, and as I'll allude later on into mine, that the Browns are very good at running the ball. So I can't argue either way on this one. I still quite like the Browns, but the Steelers have found a way to win games ugly this year, and everything sort of is going their way pre-game, to say that that's quite doable again.
Like it, Bish. Yeah, like I said, the risky part over 33 points, but it's so low. It's so low. In most of the games this year against the Rams in October, did the line. The only ones they didn't was against the Jaguars, where they only scored 10 points. But the Jaguars have a good defense. They beat the Packers, obviously, hit the line comfortably against the Titans. So in recent times, they've 1 out of 4 games, they've not hit the line. It's just so low, like you said. And I think the Cleveland Browns offense will be good enough to match it and get over it, whether it's a scrappy game or a bad game. It can be the worst game ever and still get over 33 points.
Yeah, fair.
Bish, take us on to a similar bet, I see.
Yeah, this one, my third rolls nicely into this one. It's Jerome Ford over 49.5 rushing yards, the Browns running back. And as I alluded to, actually, I think it was week 2. It was earlier on in the season, and Nick Chubb went down injured in this game, and Jerome Ford stepped up, and he actually had, I don't think I've written it down, but he had over 100 yards on 16 carries. So the Steelers are a bit leaky against the run, and the Browns, that's what they do, as we've just said. They're ranked second in rushing this year, averaging 147 a game, and Jerome Ford he stepped up and he's the lead back now. Kareem Hunt's the short yardage guy, the goal line back, but Jerome Ford is the main man, and his snaps have increased massively throughout the season. I think the biggest one here is obviously without Deshaun Watson. Can the Steelers load up the box and force that rookie quarterback to try and beat him? Quite possibly, but I still think the Browns are good enough to open lanes, and in a low scoring game, I think he's going to get enough carries, even if it's ugly, to get over this line. So just the Steelers, as we just said, bottom 8 against the run. the last 4 games against the Steelers, at least one running back from the opposition has hit over this 50-yard line. I think the Rams had 2 go over. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but high enough to get over the 33 that we need. But and that's why I just think they're just going to run the ball, and just quantity, probably quantity rather than quality, will get over that 50-yard mark.
Yeah, completely agree. I think Jerome Ford's been a brilliant. I think the thing that might stifle this, and you said it yourself, is if DFJ can't get the ball to Amari Cooper and some of them other receivers and tight ends on the Browns. I think if you see a couple of catches earlier on by Cooper, you probably know that Jerome's going to get over this yardage, because they'll have to be honest and at least respect the throw-in and the receivers on this. If you see loads of incompletions, or you don't see them come up on the screen at all, then that's when you probably squeak in. But you should still hit over this at 50 yards. It's even slightly disrespectful to Jerome Ford. He's been awesome this year, to be honest, Bish. I'm quite surprised it's that low. They've been very good at running the ball of the Browns. Yeah, like I said, slightly disrespectful, but maybe the bookies know something we don't, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just looking now. He's had the last 2 weeks. He's had 64% snap percentage, and he's had 20 carries and 17 carries. So, if he can get around, I think he could get 20 carries in this game, just with it being low scoring. So, if just over 2 yards a carry and we're there. So, I think this is a good one.
Yeah, you can do that in 2 runs, can't you? 2 good runs.
It just takes one big one, yeah, and we're laughing. So yeah.
All good. I will take you through my last one. Again, the classic Bet365 Bet Boost. There's a lovely spot on that top left corner, the punt on the right. Let's get Bet365 on the left. I've gone the safest one I could find, to be honest with you, Bish. I think it's only 6-1 for a Bet Boost, not the highest of odds on the Bet Boost. We're normally talking 9-1 and over when I normally do these. But match result: Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets. I've got Stephon Diggs to get a touchdown, and I've got James Cook to also get a touchdown. I think the Bills should beat the Jets, as we've talked about. They need a QB. Zach Wilson's sadly not the man. He's had his chances now. I don't think there's anyone feeling sad for Zach anymore, like maybe they were earlier on. He's had his chance. He's not quite took it. The defense is still really good on the Jets side of things, but Stephon Diggs, obviously at his 29 years of age, he will mow. Normally, when these wide receivers have a moan, it normally goes one or two ways, and it's obvious they normally don't go quietly. So it's either they're moaning and Chase Claypool and they're off, you never see, or they normally have a good week and say, no, there were no issues at all here. We're still all friends. It was just the tension of the game. It was just game communication. I think that's what's going to come out of this game. And they'll make sure Stephon Diggs gets a touchdown to show that there's no issues and it's all still good in Buffalo and they're still going for them playoffs. James Cook touchdown in there. I saw it. Didn't mind it. I think Buffalo will get a few touchdowns in this game. I think they'll need to explode. Josh Allen's had a lot of turnovers. I think they'll play it safe and run it into that end zone and get a few touchdowns with James Cook and other running backs as well. Bish.
Yeah, it's a big game for the Bills. This one, I think they need to get it. I think they're 5-5 at 500, and obviously a divisional game. Chasing, I think they've got a pretty tough schedule coming up as well. So, a lot on the line for the Bills. And like you said, after a bad performance, a few turnovers, this is a get right game for them. I think the Jets are good defensively, but against the run, they are a bit leaky. And I think that's where we might get that James Cook touchdown. I think that's probably the biggest one that might not happen. I think just where Josh Allen sort of stifling and taking those goal line carries. I think Josh Allen rushed for one last week. So as long as we can get James Cook taking those carries, or maybe he breaks one, for 20 plus yards and gets in that way. So I agree with Stefan Diggs. I think he's that sort of player who'll come back with a vengeance, and Josh Allen will get him the ball. So yeah, I like it. It's just for me, it's just that James Cook one. If we can, Josh Allen can sacrifice a touchdown. If he can throw him instead of running for him and give one to James Cook, that'd be nice.
I think they'll. I've just got a feeling they'll go back to some safe old school football. They've been gunslinging. They've been obviously letting Josh Allen just throw it around the park with no checks and balances on it. I think they'll do a get right game, play it safe, throw it to Diggs a lot, and use the running backs in the end zone and get this one done. Hopefully, Bish. Anyway,
Nice.
I'm hoping so. But yeah, Bish, the last one we've got to cover is Tag's touchdown treble. So you want to take us through it?
Yep. The treble for week 11, it's Tony Pollard of the Cowboys, Marquise Hollywood Brown of the Cardinals, and Tyreek Hill of the Dolphins. So again, we'll have a price on that come Sunday. The odds aren't quite out there yet, but yeah, it's an interesting free. Tyreek on a bounce back after being shut out against the Chiefs, in that revenge game last week. I'm liking Marquise Brown. Yeah, Kyler Murray's back, gives them a boost in a game against the Texans, which, the way CJ Stroud's playing could be a bit of a dark horse to be a bit of a shootout, that one. So that could be interesting. And then I think this is the one what it comes down. Tony Pollard, he's I've seen plenty of memes of him this week of him not trying to, not getting in the end zone. And I think we touched in it on the fantasy show. He's only had one touchdown, and that was week 1. So again, another game where you think they'd score a lot of points. Hopefully he can get over for us.
Yeah, come on, Tony Pollard. That's all. The other one's obviously even Hollywood last week was that close away from getting that touchdown one. He had clearly Kyler has a bit of a understanding with Hollywood Brown. Looked for him a couple of times, and like Tyreek's doesn't need explaining. So yeah, I like it. But come on, Tony, it's the one that you can't get a touchdown in. You've had a tough year. Let's get it right, and let's get yourself a touchdown. Bish, what else have you got to cover us? I think it's been a good week. I'm playing it fairly safe, other than a James Cook in there, a James Cook touchdown in there. I think I'll get most of mine, and I want to just have a good week and smile on my face doing these bets because it's been killing me the last. I'm begging. I've gone safe. I've gone up. It's just not worked. So I want a 3 out of 3. And Bish, I love yours again. I know I've said it before, but love your bets, and I think take us through what your thoughts are.
Yeah, like I said, I'm chasing that 3 out of 3. I'm 2 out of 3 the last 2 weeks. I'm trying to claw back those units and get head above water. So yeah, but like you said, it's hotting up now. A lot of things are on the line. It's getting interesting. So and we're still waiting for that big touchdown treble from Tag. So it's coming. We're getting close. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Come on, Tag. Come on, Bish. Another good show, Bish. I've enjoyed this one. Good luck over the weekend, Bish. Let's have it. We need one. Just let's have it. Big Sunday. We'll all be watching. We'll all be tuning in. And good luck, everyone, on all their bets over the weekend. Bish, give us the outro.
Oh, yeah, the outro. We never forgot. Please subscribe, like, ring the bell as well. If you ring the bell, you'll never miss any content. We're active every day. There's some content out there. X, Instagram, and the shorts are hotting up as well. So, and stay peeled. Any best bets for this weekend? Put them in the comments, and any interaction, let's get amongst it.
Like it. Good outro, Bish. Good luck. See you soon.